everybody. I'm Ray Braselton, the music show host and executive producer, and I have with us today John Williamson, who's part of our production staff and has many tasks in this music show that we do for you every week. I thought this show that's coming up for you will be a little bit based on it's recapping a lot of the stuff we may have talked about before, about our past and some of our musical experience, and I thought you'd enjoy it, along with, of course, a regular show of singing and musical instrumentation that we always do. I know that you also belong to the Rochester Guitar Club. Maybe talk a little bit about that and some of the different kind of instruments that you play and kind of music you do. So we'll be getting into all that. We do have a little bit revised segment coming up on this show. This is kind of a new era for us in a way. If you remember, of course, our most beloved friend and musician and our co-host for 6 years was Nick Rita. And Nick Rita was always very, very accomplished in all that he did. Unfortunately, he passed away in February 2012, and it's been very difficult to really ever replace him. But we are trying to do our best to meet his standards. We're going to be moving the Uncle Nick's Corner, and it will be called Musical Studies, or we haven't even come up with a name. You'll see it when it gets on. But we will be doing a little bit different format on that. One of the things we'll be doing, we will continue to broadcast Uncle Nick's segments because they're so well liked. So we're going to continue to broadcast those periodically, but we're going to do something a little different, and we're going to take it into a little bit more basic for a little bit here for a while. Some basic guitar for some of you out there that really haven't got a whole lot of knowledge in the field of music and would like to learn how to play guitar. This will help you to understand guitar in your way, and as we go on down the line, other people will be able to listen to Uncle Nick on occasion, and we'll try and get some teachers in that might help us out with the segment too. Maybe John will give us a hand on that. I don't know. I can talk him into it. So anyhow, we'll just want to remind you too that we are on Facebook. It's kind of a new setup for us, and we'd like you to join us with the Facebook called The Music Show, and give us your comments, what parts of the show you like. Tell us also, if you don't mind, maybe let us know where you live so we kind of keep track of where our viewing audience is coming from. We'll explain a little bit more about and show pictures. We got some baby pictures of John we're going to be showing you, so that should get you to stay tuned. And we'll go over some of the old pictures that may have been in my archives, my personal archives, some of the stuff I've done in the past, and give you a little bit of a background on that. So I hope you enjoy the show, and stay tuned. And you ready to go, John?
Let's go.
Here we go. I'd like to do the song "Sweet Caroline" for you. Where it began, I can't begin to know it, but then I know it's going strong. Was in the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come on? Touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good.
and it don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only two. And when it hurts, hurting runs off my shoulder. How can I hurt when holding you? Touching warm, reaching out, touching you, touching you. Sweet Caroline, goodbye never seems so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would. Oh no, no. Sweet Caroline, could I never say they're good? I am inclined to believe they never would. Oh no, no, no. This is a great Beatles song. She loves you. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, 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 yeah. Think you lost your love? Well, I saw her yesterday. The shoe she's thinking of. She told me what to say. She said she loves you, and you know that can't be bad. She said she loves you, and you know you should be glad. She said you hurt her so, she almost lost her mind. Now she says she knows you're not the hurting kind. She said she loves you, and you know you can't be mad. Oh, she loves you, you know you should be glad. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. With love like that, you know you should be glad. Though it's up to you, I think it's only fair. Pride can hurt you too. Apologize to her. Said she loves you, and you know you should be glad. Oh, she loves you, and you know you should be glad. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. With love like that, you know you should be glad. With love like that, you know you should be glad. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm Ray Braselton, your host, and today John Williamson, who is part of our production staff, has joined us to help us with the show. We've really appreciate that, John. We have a lot of interesting facts, I think, about you and I. I don't know if it's interesting to them, but we'll find out. We hope they enjoy it. But John, wanted to kind of hit a little bit on your background, and I know you didn't like that background word, but we but we're gonna go ahead and try and just investigate a little bit about what you did in the past, how you got into music. Maybe real quickly, how did you? I never have asked you this. I'm getting a lot out of this interview for myself. How did you get involved with music?
When we were growing up, we had a piano in the house, always had music in the house. And one Christmas, my mom bought my brother and me ukuleles and bought my dad a guitar. So I got interested in playing along with her piano music, doing ukulele chords. Then looking at my dad's guitar, I figured 6 strings were better than 4, so I started messing around with that. Got interested in Buddy Holly and Dwayne Eddy and the Ventures, and from there I was hooked on the guitar. So ever since, I've been playing in bands of one sort or another, different styles of music. More currently, I've picked up on the electric bass, and most of the playing I do now is on bass, occasional guitar. Some of the things that I've been involved with in the past, one kind of highlight was a group that was originally from Rochester. We were called originally Anya's Street. Anya Cohen was our lead singer, and back in the 60s, she was a regular feature in the folk rock group period here in Rochester. Anyway, we went to New York, cut an album. The album's title was shortened to Street. People were continually confusing the name of the group, thinking it's Onion Street or whatever. So that was on the Verve Forecast label, part of MGM at the time. So that was a very interesting period in my musical career.
Didn't you mention to me that you hung around or had spots with some pretty famous groups at that time, or you were in the same production?
Well, sure. We did the what was called the college coffee house circuit. We toured different colleges here in the New York State area. One time we were at Oneonta, and they happened to have a big homecoming weekend, and so we opened for Gary Puckett in the Union Gap. That was a lucky break for us. Even though we were booked as an underground rock group, it was a nice contrast between their music and ours. Back in New York, we had an opportunity to be on a metropolitan New York area VJ show that was featuring Frankie Crocker, a former Buffalo DJ. And some of the other acts that we were on the same bill with were James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, the Chambers Brothers, a whole bunch of others. Another lucky break. We sometimes luck just happens to you.
Do you still have that record around?
I do.
Oh, we're going to play it for you next week on this show. I don't know if you'll let me, but...
Well, it's interesting. I had lunch with Anya last week.
This is the leader?
This is the lead singer with our band. She's back in Rochester. And so I happened to bring along a copy of the album when we had lunch, and so we were having a good time exchanging stories back and forth about how we did the cover shoot that was done by Joel Brodsky, the same guy that did some of the more unusual album covers for the Doors. So anyway, Anya's back. We had a great time swapping stories about...
I'll bet you did. I'll bet you had a great time with that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we also wanted to talk a little bit the music that you do now. Also, I believe you do play. You didn't mention this, but I do think you play a little classical guitar too. Matter of fact, you did a little classical piece on the show one time
for the Guitar Club, Rochester Guitar Club Christmas show.
Right.
And the Rochester Guitar Club is an activity that I'm currently involved with. This is a brochure that we have. Our club meetings are the third Monday of every month. They're currently held at the Red Room. That's at the big house right next to Asbury Methodist Church on East Avenue.
Is anybody invited?
Everybody's invited.
Great.
Yep. And if you come, you can pick up one of the brochures that.
It's
Give a
not
little
just
bit
for
more information.
professionals, then. It's
No, it's for people with all skill levels, or if they just like guitar music.
Yeah.
They can come and enjoy the activities. We
so-
try and alternate. 1 month we'll have a presentation featuring someone demonstrating a particular style or type of instrument or technique. And then the other months we'll have what's called a play around or a round robin.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Everyone who
Yeah.
wants to play a song, a solo piece, instrumental, can play it in a non-critical atmosphere. It's just
That's nice.
for people who enjoy honing their performing skills in a non-critical atmosphere.
Also, they bring people sometimes from out of state that are pretty well known.
We do.
And that's been exciting to go to some of them. They even have a big concert and sell tickets for.
Presenters concerts once or twice a
right,
year.
Right.
Yep.
Right, yeah. It's a great organization, and we have had them on our show, I think, twice. So,
Yep.
so it's been great to have them. Well, I'm so glad to know a little bit about John. I'm still going to get more out of him in the coming shows, so we'll see what we can do.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a beautiful song for you now. This song was originally done by a gentleman by the name of Al Hibbler, and it was somewhere in the 50s, I believe. Later on done by the Righteous Brothers in the early 60s. And then again, Ghost, the movie Ghost, I believe it was in the 1980s. The name of the song is Unchained Melody. Time goes by so slowly. Time can do so much. But you still mine. I need your love. I need your love. God, speed your love to me. Lonely rivers flow to the sea, to the sea. Of the sea, lonely riverside, wait for me, wait for me. I'll be coming home, wait for me. Oh, my love, my darling, I hunger for your touch. Time goes by. Yes, time goes by. So lonely, lonely. I can do so much. gaze at the stars, at the stars, waiting for the dawn of the day. All alone I gaze at the stars, at the stars, dreaming of the love far away. My love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch a lonely time. Time goes by so slowly. Time can do so much. Are you still mine? I need your love. Oh, I need your love. Oh, speak your love to me.
Hi, I'm Ray Braselton, host of this new segment, the Guitar Teaching and Technique segment. We're going to be starting with a basic overview of the guitar, and I'll teach it just like I do at my studio. And hope you enjoy it. If you'd like to take your guitar with me and join me, so you should know the parts of your guitar. I'll try to point them out to you the best I can on parts. Starting with, if we can start with the headstock maybe. This part of the guitar in here is called the headstock, or they just call it the head. That's the whole thing. You have your tuning pegs are here, and they're the whole assembly. That means the gears and everything is called a machine head, where this is more of the tuning peg, but most people just call it the tuning peg. And this one would go to be turned counterclockwise to tune up. This one would be for the sixth string, the low sixth string. The fifth string would be this one, which is also turned counterclockwise for the fifth string. And the fourth string would be counterclockwise to tune it up, all these tune up. When you get down here at the bottom, you go to this one here, this peg here, and that's your third string up. And that one you tune clockwise to tune it up. And this one is your second string, clockwise, and your first string, clockwise. So I want you to know that's the headstock. This is called, this is called the nut. That's your nut, and that just keeps your strings. It's got little slots for your strings to stay in place. And the strings, they keep them in place and up above the neck. Then you have what we call the neck of the guitar, which is generally between the nut and where it attaches to the guitar. I'll try to hold it where you can see right here, where it attaches to the guitar right there. You can see what I'm talking about. So that's the neck area, okay? Where the fretboard is actually from all the way from the nut, and it's the top part of the neck, this part of the neck. The fretboard, or fingerboard they call it, would run all the way to here. So you can play the fingerboard, the finger plays all these along here. So that's, so these are the fret wires. They call these fret wires. And I generally refer to this as my first fret, and this is my first fret wire. My second fret wire. A lot of people refer to the fret as being the wire, the first fret. So they say the first fret. But when they say put your finger on the first fret, you don't really put it on the first fret. You put it, you don't put it on the first fret, you put it just before the first fret, or fret wire is what I call it. This considers your first fret, your second fret, your third fret, your fourth fret, fifth, and that tells you kind of, you have dots on many guitars, little dots. It doesn't on this, yeah it does. Got a little dot, that's your third fret. Your fifth fret is the next dot. Your 7th fret is the next dot. Your 9th fret is the next dot. Then you have double dots for your 12th fret right here. And these double dots indicate actually an octave higher. So you got E and you got high E. You got B, regular B, and you got high B. And G, G. So there's the same note, just an octave higher. You have also, of course, the body of the guitar. This is considered the whole body of the guitar. And these, of course, excuse me. And then this attaches, the strings will attach to the bridge. This is a bridge tailpiece combined. Some have a tailpiece where the strings hook onto a metal tailpiece and then go over a bridge. This one, I don't know if you can see the bridge. Here we go. Okay? So now this one goes actually over what we call a saddle. Okay? And it goes over the saddle and into what we call peg holes or bridge pin holes. These are called bridge pins. This is the bridge. This is the saddle here. And these are called bridge pins. There's a hole. You place the ball end of the string in that hole, and the bridge pin goes in there. So, nevertheless, that's basically. Now you also have a strap button for your strap, and again, this is called the body, and that gives you a pretty good idea of most. I don't think I missed any of the guitar and how we start. So. I'd like to thank you for being with me, and I'm Ray Braselton saying we'll see you next show. Bye.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ray Braselton, and this is Doing It Right from the greater Rochester area. I do a song for you called Help Pour Out the Rain. La-dee-da-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. The moment was custom made to order. I was riding with my daughter on the way back to Monroe. And like children do, started playing 20 questions. I never could have guessed one touched me to my soul. She said, Daddy, when we get to heaven, can I taste the Milky Way? Are we going there to visit, or are we going there to stay? Am I gonna see my grandpa? Can I have a pair of wings? Do you think that God could use another angel to help pour out the rain? And I won't lie, I pulled the car right over, sat there on the shoulder, trying to wipe my misty eyes. I whispered, Lord, I want to thank you for my children. It's your innocence that fills them, often takes me by surprise. He said, Daddy, when we get to heaven, can I taste the Milky Way? Are we going there to visit, or are we going there to stay? Am I gonna see my grandpa? Can I have a pair of wings? Do you think that God could use another angel to help pour out the rain? Thought about it later on, and a smile came to my face. I tucked her in her bed at night, down on my knees and prayed. Lord, when I get to heaven, can I taste the Milky Way? I don't want to come want to visit, 'cause I'm coming home to stay. I can't wait to see my family and meet Jesus face to face. Do you think the Lord could use another angel to help pour out the rain? La-di-da-di-dee, dee-dee-dee-dee. And now, crazy little thing called love. Oh, this thing called love, I just can't handle it. This thing called love, I must get around to it. Ain't ready. Crazy little thing called love. Oh, this thing called love, it cries like a baby in the cradle all night. This thing, it jives, it shakes like a jellyfish. You kinda like it. Crazy little thing called love. There goes my baby, knows how to rock and roll. She drives me crazy. She gets hot, cold fever, and she leaves me in a cool, cool sweat. It be cool, relax. Get on my track, take a backseat, hitchhike. Long ride on a motorbike, till I'm ready. Crazy little thing called love. Oh, hey, this thing called love, I just can't handle it. This thing called love, must get around to it. Get ready, crazy little thing called love. Crazy little thing called love. Crazy little thing called love.
I'm just the host of the show. I suppose you want me to tell a little
You
bit
really
about
have
me.
musical background.
I have got limited musical background, limited to 1960 something. I don't go as far back as you do. but-
Okay. Well, start at 1960.
Well, actually, I did take my lessons on the piano too as a kid, first grade, and went through high school band all the way through high school pretty much, and that my father was a very accomplished musician with piano and was like a 5-year-old church, what we call him, organist or whatever for church. So he was a big influence in my life, but I did get involved with a dance and music teaching, instrumental and singing studio in California, where I grew up. Well, we both have hoarse throats today, don't we?
Ever meet anybody famous in California?
I sure did. I met people famous, but that was so long ago I can hardly remember who they were. But
You were just a baby
I was
then.
just a baby then. But in fact, I did work with some people that had been on TV quite a bit, been on the Ted Mack Hour, if you remember that. And if you're that old to remember the Ted Mack Hour, if you guys remember that. But I did have people that I went to that studio with. That went to the same studio as I did, and they were on that show. But I basically got involved with bands with some of the people in the studio. We did do dancing. We danced before Teachers Association throughout the whole United States. It met in Los Angeles, and we did that. So I was into dance and vocal. But I think the bands, the kids getting together with the garage band type thing was something that we did a lot of, and ended up, just learning more through that, of course, that experience. We did get on a show, and I think it was called John Marshall's amateur hour or something in Los Angeles, and I was on that quite a bit. In fact, I was on it weekly as a headliner, or how do you call it, the beginning of the show intro, like my intro to this show, and I was on that every week, and that was throughout all Southern California. So that was something that I did that was a lot of fun.
Well, I know you play guitar, but what other instruments do you play?
Well, I actually, I'm more just guitar and trombone are my main instruments, but I do play a little bit of everything because I'm so musically rounded and have so much experience over 40 years that I've been working in music. I've been teaching for 40 years. That I teach piano, I teach, of course, guitar and bass guitar, I teach dobro, I teach, believe it or not, dulcimer, which is a fantastic little instrument. People don't realize what you can do with a dulcimer. I teach vocal, or I should say I coach vocal. I have a lot of students right now that I have worked, that I work with and put into concerts. Sometimes I put them here on the TV show. I take them out sometimes with me when I'm playing out. I do play out, so I perform at different clubs or cafes. Sometimes I do a lot of work for the what we might call assisted living family homes, and I do a lot of work, play out consistently. So I'm
That's mainly as a solo artist?
mainly as a solo artist. That's what I do. However, I have a young man that joins me every so often. His name is John Williamson, this guy right here, and every so often he plays out and helps me out with the bass, and I appreciate that, John, when you do.
It's always fun.
It is fun. We have a good time. Sometimes we put together a band. We've done that a couple of times. That's been fun. So that's basically what I do. I'm a teacher by career, actually. I teach my own studio. I've been teaching for like 40-some years, and I have, again, piano, guitar, and all the ones I mentioned to you before that I teach.
This song is written by Danny Dill and Mel Tillis, called Detroit City. Last night I went to sleep, Detroit City, and I dreamed about the cotton fields back home. Dreamed about my mother, your old papa, sister, and brother. Dreamed about the girl who's been waiting for so long. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Oh, how I wanna go home. Home folks think I'm big, Detroit City. From the letters that I write, they think I'm fine. By the day I make the cars, by night I make the bars. If only they could read between the lines. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Oh, how I wanna go home. 'Cause you know, I rode a freight car north from Detroit City. After all these years, I just wasting time. I think I'll just take my foolish pride, put it in a southbound and ride. Go on back to the loved ones, those loved ones I left so far behind. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Oh, how I wanna go home.
Probably, I could tell you a little bit about, again, going back a little bit, I did, being involved with the studio, I did get involved with an interesting producer from, I believe it was Desilu Studios, who had us come in. We sat down to talk to he was head of all operations throughout I think, West and East Coast, I think all the United States, putting on and airing all the different shows for television. And he was trying to put together a band, and he tried me and my partner out at his home, his mansion that we went to. And supposedly I made it, my partner didn't, but I made it, but they had to take the two of us, or neither one of us. That's the story, I'm sticking to that. but nevertheless, the experience was great. Shortly after that, the Monkees came out. And I always wondered if it was maybe the Monkees that I was trying out for. So it's kind of fun and exciting. And but I'll show you a few pictures of my when I moved to New York in 1968. One of the first things I did, because I was very involved. Actually, in 1964, I was involved with folk masses for the Catholic Church. And when I came to New York in 1968, I'll show you a picture. I helped put together. Actually, I was kind of the leader of the group. I'll try to hold this up so you can see it the best I can. And maybe there. And this is a picture of a group that I formed at Holy Trinity in Webster, New York. And there's a lot of people here that once in a while I run into them. I don't see them. I beg you, if you at all are able to recognize yourself, and if you remember working with me in the Holy Trinity folk group, that you would please contact me. I'd love to see you. And but that was something I did for years, and I'm still doing now. I still do on Sundays at different churches. Try to help out with music. I usually do it solo by myself. So that's something I did as I got involved with that, and I ended up going into the teaching profession shortly after that. And entertainment, where in the 1970s I was playing out in band professionally for receptions, wedding receptions and parties. And that was an exciting time in my life, the 70s and 80s, I believe. And eventually through the 90s, even got my son and my father involved. So we had 3 generations of musicians in the same family playing out at clubs, and not clubs, we never did really clubs, but wedding receptions, basically. And one of the exciting times, again, going back to my studio years in California, one exciting thing that I may have told you before in another show, but I had the opportunity to work with a lot of people, and one of the people I worked on stage, I introduced him, I was the host of the show, was John Walmsley from, what's the name of the show on the John Boy, and all
The
that.
Waltons.
The Waltons, right? And he and I worked together 2 or 3 times, and and there's been different people of that kind of fame that in and out that I worked with. So that was exciting. And then again, as I got into the music career, I ended up also getting a job teaching as a teacher. I'm going to show you a few pictures or mention to them, and I'm sure our director will make arrangements to get the pictures on for you. One picture you may want to see is when I was first starting out in the show business. This is a picture of me taken in Paramount, California for Hollywood. Actually, it was Hollywood, California, Paramount, the same area. And it was a promotional packet, and that's a picture of me, actually, with my hair in the old Ricky Nelson style back then, early 60s. And then there's another picture of me and my buddy Rob, who we performed out different places. And here we had some competition, won a trophy. You can see us both standing with the trophy there. Another picture of he and I performing with the guitars, singing at a microphone for a concert back in the early 60s. I thought you'd like to see that. And that was the kind of thing we did. Then as I came into New York, went into continued my folk mass stuff. I got into eventually into where somebody wanted me to start teaching at the school. I really needed to get what they might say a real job. So I ended up teaching at a couple of schools. Eventually ended up at St. Michael's in Newark, where I taught for probably 8-9 years. And if you can see a picture of me in my, what would you call that, teachers and student picture book,
The yearbook?
Yearbook, right. I'm sure glad I have John here to tell me how to talk. Yearbook, right. And so that's a picture of me there, probably in the 80s. And then there's a picture, another picture of me underneath where you see me working with two of my students, probably for a concert. One's playing flute, because I do teach the band instruments, several band instruments, clarinet, flute, and saxophone, several band instruments I teach. And you'll see that. And then the other thing that was interesting to me, my teaching career was very important to me in schools, but I'm a teacher at my own studio. So that's what I've done since 1973, actually. In 1975, I moved to Marion, New York, where I have a big studio and big retail store. And you can see a picture of my little son on the front yard with the store behind him. It says Braselton's Music Studio and Store. And that was where I taught many, many hours and at that studio. I had an interesting time in probably the late 1980s, where we belonged to a five and drum corps called and we've had him here on the show, but it's the Towpath out of Macedon, five and drum corps. And there's a picture of myself holding a bugle, and my daughter and my three sons with their drums, with a flag behind us. And that was an interesting time doing that. In fact, we had an opportunity. They asked me, I was called by Washington, D.C., and asked, somebody referred them to me to play for the President of the United States at the time, Ronald Reagan. And he was coming into Rochester. I think it was for his running for his second term for president. And they asked me to play, and I'm going to hold the picture up. This is our group played. Now, Paul Wilson is the head of the group, but he wasn't able to make it that day, so he had me take charge. And I had to go through a lot of dealings with security, the secret agents and all that stuff. And it was really serious stuff. I mean, I could tell you a whole nother story on that. But my son, you can see him, right? Oop, wrong side there. Right there is my son, Kurt. And he's not that much into music anymore, but he was with me that day along with my other children. But I just thought you'd like to see that. It was kind of exciting, and the president did ask the secret agent, I forget what you call it, Secret Service is what I'm trying to say. They asked them to ask me if I would do another recap of when he came back from the convention center to come back to play for him when he left town. So I felt like it was kind of a command performance. I feel pretty proud of that. So, I've had a lot of interesting things in my life, and of course, I am still teaching now and playing out quite a bit, and that's too long a summary of my life, but I hope you kind of enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed knowing a little bit about us here on the staff. And the next people to get on here will be my wife and Mike Auger, and we'll get them up there and talk about their past.
Who'll run the cameras?
I don't know. I'd like to do for you an old Latin tune called Sway.
When marimba rhythms start to play, dance with me and make me sway. Like the lazy ocean hugs the shore, sway me close, sway me more. Like the flowers bending in the breeze, bend with me, sway with me. When we dance you have a way with me, stay with me, sway with me. Other dancers may be on the floor, dear, but my eyes will see only you. Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, I grow weak. I can hear the sounds of violins long before they begin. Make me feel as only you know how. Sway me smooth, sway me now. Quien sarà le che mi dei suo amor? Quien sarà, quien sarà? Yo no sé, la potré encontrar. Yo no sé, yo no sé. Quien sarà le che mi dei suo amor? Quien sarà, quien sarà? Yo no sé si la podré encontrar. Yo no sé, yo no sé. Other dancers may be on the floor, dear, but my eyes will see only you. Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, I grow weak. I can hear the sounds of violins long before they begin. Make me feel as only you know how. Sway me smooth, sway me now. Quien sarà la che mi dei suo amor? Quien sarà, quien sarà? Yo no sé si la podré encontrar. Yo no sé, yo no sé. Oh, sway me smooth, sway me now.
We hope you've enjoyed today's show, and we hope that you will stay with us. And we got a lot of things coming ahead of us now with the new era that we're going through. And we miss Nick, Rita, Uncle Nick, we always called him, but I know he'd want us to go ahead and continue. So, everybody, you stay with us every week, and we want you to be, again, we're going to bring up, we'd like you to join us on our new kind of Facebook setup, the music show, and give us your comments on what you like on the show, and if you wanted any comments or let us know what area you're from, so we can kind of keep track of where our viewers are from. We'd really appreciate that. I guess that's going to be the wrap of this new era show. Okay, John?
Say good night, Ray.
And good night, Ray.
Night, everybody.
1, 2, 3, 4. She was just 17. You know what I mean? And the way she looked, way beyond compare. How could I dance with another? Ooh, when I saw her standing there. She looked at me. I could see that before too long, fall in love with her. She wouldn't dance with another. Ooh, when I saw her standing there. Well, my heart went boom when I crossed that room, and I held her hand in mine. Oh yeah. Well, we danced through the night, and we held each other tight, and before too long, fell in love with her.